Opposing Gloves here, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the navigation options. First off, make sure you have the most recent version of the database. To do this, clear your cache and do a hard refresh. On Chrome, the way I do it is you hit F12, and when you do, it opens up the dev console, but more importantly, if you right-click up here on the refresh button, empty cache and hard reload is now an option. This will ensure you have the most recent version of JavaScript running. It's going to be a bit different for each browser. I develop on Chrome primarily, so that's the one I use the most. Once you have done that, navigating is real simple. Just scroll up, down. If you hold Shift and scroll, it'll scroll you left and right. And if you push the nav arrows at the top, you will get to move left and right as well. It is in default, it's in vertical view, but there's also a horizontal view, which can be pretty handy if you're on mobile. And it will also zoom out if you're on mobile so that you can see a little bit more if you rotate your phone. So with that out of the way, at the top, we have a key, and you just click on it and it just explains some of the terms in the database, scaling, stuff like that. And then we have the tips, which is where this video will be, along with a bunch of, if you want to read it, here it is. This is how you could search things. So the easiest way to search items is to either use a search bar. Search bars that are on a particular column or row will search just that column or row. This will search the entire table on any data that is searchable. So data like links and things that don't have search bars are currently not searchable. So a search up here won't give you anything that's in these. If you go over to filters, you actually get the ability to choose what you want, which is probably the easiest way to browse. So if you go to, let's say, for example, Linux and Mac, and let's say that we want reverbs. So if we now submit this, we get everything with Linux and Mac, and it has a reverb in it. Now, this does a type of logic between the searches where it'll search for Mac or Linux and reverb. So if you do more specific searches like distortion and pitch manipulation, it'll search Mac or Linux and reverb or distortion or pitch manipulation. So we'll get more plugins as we would kind of expect. But if you come in and now you pick an instrument, synth, drum, sax, well, now there might not be any overlap between the categories. And as we get more and more checkboxes between categories, we're more likely to get no results. Because the chances of something being, of a type reverb, distortion, pitch manipulation, and it's also a synth, drum, or saxophone is pretty unlikely. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to clear these filters, and let's go back to our first search of Mac, Linux, and reverb. So now we have our reverbs for our particular system, and you might notice here that there is a bundle that's in here. We might not want this bundle here. So we can click and we can go down to more filters. We can close some of these too. And in more filters, there's one for not bundles. These options will continue to get updated as things get more useful and the tagging system improves. So this will remove the bundles. So you click that. Now the bundles are gone. And you can search for just the results you want. Now it does create a search query up here for you that you are able to modify and use, which is pretty nice. It can serve as a great starting point. Let's go a little bit further into searches, but I'd like to say a few things about the table. First, you'll notice that there is some coloring going on, just to make things you're going to want to see quickly more apparent. So demos, these could be SoundCloud links, videos, you name it. And they're just to give you a quick vibe for how that product sounds. And then the blue is always platforms, bluish purple. And this is so that you could just quickly see if it's available for your platform. And at the top, I'd like to point out there is a dark mode if you prefer things to be in dark mode so that you can, save your eyes if you're in a dark room. So with those things out of the way, searching is very simple. If you search a column, let's search for a name of compressor. And now we only get products with the name of compressor. So it only searches that data. The data that's over here is either data that I don't think should be at the front of the table, or it's data that's already presented here, but I still want you to be able to search it via, a feature list. So that's why name is all the way over here, because you can see the name over here. But let's say that you search compressor over here. Well, this is going to search through everything. And if you search for it, you get all of these results, all the results with compressor anywhere in the searchable data. It also works off partial matches, and it is not case sensitive. So if you search comp, it'll search for comp, and anything that has the word comp anywhere in it will be found. So obviously, if you're a little more specific here, might be a little more helpful. But for things like, example, drum machine, drum kit, there's different versions of that. It might be more helpful just to search for drum to get that. So you can get a little more specific in the table search. You don't have to search the whole table. If you type any of the names of these categories, I call them modifiers, it'll search that. So for example, let's look for the name of compressor. So the way you search it is you type dash dash and then the thing you want. Now it's going to be exactly the same as how it is here, except for it's not case sensitive. So if we do this, we see we get compressor exactly how we expect. Let's say we want to search for a download size. Let's say we want to search for a download size. Well, that one has a space in it, so it would be download size. And then you type your search. And in this case, let's say we want everything greater than, or let's say less than, let's say 200 kilobytes. So in this case, it knows that this is the modifier, and I do support inequalities. Equal, you could type equals greater than or less than. And if you do that, here are all the products with a download size less than 200 kilobytes. You see, there's not very many. It's kind of weird to be that small. Let's look for something. You might find this one very useful. We could look for one with a rating, and I can't remember if there's no S on this. So a rating of, let's say, equals to 4 stars. And here are all the 4-star plugins, or you could say greater than 4 stars. Currently, I do not support, whoops, that's the wrong one. Currently, I do not support combinators, like greater than, equal to. Probably going to come down the pipeline at some point, though. Won't be too difficult to add. I just haven't added them yet. So now you can see sort of how you could search. By the way, in filters, there is one for ratings if you desire to, do it through the filters category. This could get a lot more powerful, though. You could search for multiple things together. So let's say that we want to search the name category and we want to search the company category for anything with the word kilo. So this will check for kilo in a name or in a company slot. And now we get everything with kilo in the name or the company. So that's pretty handy. You can search multiple categories. If you misspell something, by the way, if you put like companies and then let's search for something different. Let's just do an obvious example. Let's search for a name of compressor. Name compressor. Let's say we misspelled name. Well, then it won't update. So if you put like names, it'll just say no results because there's no feature named names. So if your search isn't returning what you think it should, fair chance you misspelled a modifier. So just be aware of that. When you spell it right, it acts like it should. Now, you can do some cool things with the names. Names are also supported over distribution. So for example, if we put some braces, and then we could put a bunch of names, it'll search for each one of those only in the name category. So we could search for anything with the word effects in the name or the word delay in the name. So what this is going to do is name is going to get distributed to effects. So it's going to look for name effects or name delay. When we do that, we see we get things with the word delay in the name and things with the word effects in the name. So these things can be distributed. Nested braces are also supported. So if you want to get crazier and have like another search query, you can. And so you can see how the modifiers kind of work. And this is also supported for multiple modifiers. So if you wanted like mod 1, mod 2, and then you wanted to search a group of things, you could do that. Now, you saw that logic is supported. So you could type like compressor or bundle. So when you do that, you get everything with a compressor or it's tagged as a bundle. We could get rid of the bundles by simply typing not. And you could type and to get only the bundles. Compressor and it's in a bundle. With the logical operators, you can of course do them inside of braces. You can do nested braces, all that stuff. So we could look for stuff with comp, not, and then we could type in a bunch of things we don't want in there, like bundle or sample pack. So what will happen is it'll look for everything tagged with sample pack, or has sample pack in its data. Then it'll look for everything with bundle. It'll create a list of all these things, and then it will get the compressor stuff, and then it will remove all of the stuff that was in this list. So sample packs are something you're either going to want to filter out or you're going to want to have them in there, obviously. But it's going to be a common thing you're probably going to want to get rid of. So if we search for this, it'll get rid of those things, and we're left with this. So you see quite a few things have comp, so let's look for compressor, and we'll go back down to the compressor results. While we're here, with the search features, if you do a search for something like compressor, and then you notice you have stuff like bundles that you don't want, you can just type braces instead of the word -- not. Instead of doing that, a shorthand is just to type bundle. And this acts like not. So if there's ever logic missing, it is assumed to be not. Similar to how when we multiply, this is assumed to be multiplication. Here, this is assumed to be not. So that's how that works. So you could actually do this between two groups. You could say, like, you want everything that's a compressor or effects. And then if you don't put anything, it's assumed there's a not in between these. And then you could say, get rid of everything with a name of delay. Well, let's get with a name of effects. So it gets rid of anything that has effects in the name, but it keeps everything that has effects in the data, potentially in the compressor. And you can, of course, do this with the range modifiers with ratings like greater than 3 stars or less than this download size or whatever you want. So the search bar is very sophisticated. You're able to do very specific searches if you should desire. Now, of the search, say you do a search, compressor, and you want to randomize the search, well, you can randomize it, and it will only randomize what your current search query has returned. So it doesn't pick like randomly. If you want to reset it, now you can just randomize across everything. And then anything with the up-down arrow is a sortable column. So it'll sort your current data. So right now we have everything. So we could sort this by alphabetical order. Or we could sort by download size all the way down from a measly 36 kilobytes to a 10.3 gigabytes. If we search for something like, let's just search for compressor, and we could sort according to just the compressors, as you can see. Now, if the things are not available, so that's a good point. If it is not available and you search by a sortable column, it removes the not available stuff. It just gets rid of it. So if your results go away, that could potentially be why. So you can just hit enter again and get back to what you want. So anyways, that's the table. I hope you enjoy it. I am always working on ways of improving it. I'm still working visually on how things are going to look. Always looking for small ways to just make it more readable, more friendly, more usable, more searchable. But it's come a long ways. I'm really proud of it. If you have any questions, you can go to this video on YouTube and just comment underneath. Feature ideas too. I'm always trying to improve it. And if you have anything that should be in the database that I don't have yet. Now I do have a huge list and I'm always adding stuff. It takes a long time, but I am always listening. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.